I want to talk about treatment plans.
Yes,
A lot of the time you get a treatment plan, they don't tell you what it is.
that's accurate.
Why is that?
A lot of times the clinician develops the treatment plan, which should be collaboratively, but sometimes that doesn't end up happening. And so sometimes they develop treatment objectives on the back end, and then we'll have the client sign it later, say like, I wrote this, do you sign off on it? And then the client will still have to sign off on it to make sure that it's okay.
Right. So when you have a treatment plan and it's not working out for you, we've gone over this before, you can always quit.
Or change. Like
Or
even if you don't change clinicians, you can still change treatment goals. So that's an option too. So let's say that you're working on something like generalized anxiety disorder, and then you feel like you've resolved that, your treatment goals are complete, and the clinician may or may not agree. That's irrelevant. If you feel like you're ready to move on and tackle like the next big thing, then that might be something that you can talk to them about as far as like, let's change the treatment goal objectives.
Right. Right. And a lot of the time, a treatment plan is something that, it's right there in the name. It's a plan. And
Right.
plans change.
Plans can change. I think emotions changing is one of the only constants, right? They say that change is the only constant.
Yeah, the best thing about your feelings is that you can eat them. No, that's not true. Don't eat your feelings. That said, when you're coming to a transitioning point in your life and you are going through the process of getting either therapy or an alternative form of therapy or something along those lines, who would you say is your guiding light?
Your inner self. Well, at least that's how maybe it should be. I don't know. But like if anybody tells you otherwise, they're trying to have control, I would think. I would think if a doctor or therapist tells you how you should be doing things, you can be like, well, maybe that doesn't work for me. Or you can say, I tried that and it didn't work for me. Or
Say my favorite thing. You can't on anyone.
I don't know. Should.
You cannot should on anyone. You cannot should on people. Personally, I tend to should on people, but
saying you should like, follow, subscribe.
just like in many an episode that we have had, what you should do, what you could do, what you can do, what you can't do, those are all just defined by your own inner locus of control.
Yeah, and I'll use an example of grounding. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Real quick, it's 5 things that you can see in the room, 4 things that are within your reach to touch, 3 things you can hear with your ears, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. Now, if you go through that with somebody, generally they become more mindful and it's peaceful, and they're like, oh, I wasn't focusing on anything but what I was focusing on, which is the things at the hand. So what happens is when people do that and it doesn't work for them, it might be overstimulating. So like if somebody were to do grounding and it makes them feel more distressed, like worse, that's not recommended for somebody like that. So like if you have overstimulation with being aware of what you're touching, then that number 4, you might skip that and switch it up.
I can't use those grounding techniques. I have to ground myself internally. Categories. I will pick something random, street names. Name every street name you've ever lived on. Name every flower that you like. Name every dog breed that you enjoy. What cars are made in America? What cars are made in Japan? Where are all of your toys made? China. All of them. Literally all. They're all made in China.
They used to be things made in China were of the worst quality.
But that has changed.
Mm-hmm.
That has changed. Some of the best things that people think money can buy these days are often made in China. Now, I like to shop local. You know, I like to eat local. I like to shop local. I love it when new little independent restaurants and artists pop up.
Oh, yeah. There's this new place on Cherry Street. I don't remember the name of it, but there's this bookstore on Cherry Street that just opened up in Tulsa not too long ago. They're a really cute shop, and I wish I could remember the name. I'd give a shout out. I'm sorry, I don't remember.
Oh, man. I love it. Is it Second City Books?
No, I don't remember. It's brand new, right over near Panera somewhere.
Nice. That's cool. We'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
So my point on treatment plans is sometimes you'll get back a treatment plan and you don't understand it.
Oh, it's okay to ask questions. So a lot of times a treatment plan might look like client will identify and process 3 coping skills to reduce life stressors. And that might be too much psychobabble for some people. But an oversimplification of that might be work on ways to feel better about life.
Right. Right. Work on ways to feel better about life. Also, sometimes the best treatment is locating a new treatment for yourself.
That's true.
If you get it back and you go to that clinician and you say, hey, I don't necessarily agree with this. I don't think this label fits my jar. I don't think that, this should be slapped on my box. What should I do about it? If they're not willing to work with you and be cooperative,
if they're not willing to work with you, run.
Yeah, run.
Because if they're not willing to listen, I mean, that's half the job is listening. And to be heard, I think, is part of the human condition. So you definitely want to be heard when you're communicating with your medical professionals.
To be witnessed is to be loved. And personally, I do not want to be treated with anything but love. What about you?
Yeah, I tell people, treat me like a child. And what I mean by that is with respect.
Right. Well, that's my dental hack.
Yeah.
If I go into I put this on my TikTok forever ago. It did really well. If I go into the dentist, I know I'm terrified. And I say, hi, hello, could you please treat me like I'm 7? I am not prepared for this. I do not enjoy this. I would like the bubblegum gases and a sticker. And can I go in the treasure chest? I don't want to go in the treasure chest.
Nice. I have similar dental anxiety. I go in with headphones, grounding skills. I do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 twice, and I'm back in my body.
I get anxiety when I go to a restaurant because I don't like to order. I feel like the panic sets in because the power dynamic is weird.
See, that's one of the places I feel most comfortable because I know the rules. The rules of a restaurant are you take turns to order, and generally it's a sexist leaning, so the lady orders first.
You take turns to order, but here's where things get confusing for me, is all the women in my family were waitresses, right? And you don't mess with people who handle your food. They're the real boss, If they're touching your food, you're in charge of me, actually. I don't know about that. So I have always asked other people to order for me, except when I'm with my kids. I found a hack and a workaround on that. I just sit there and color with them, and we circle what they want on the menu. And that way, when the waitress comes around, I go, okay, well, this one wants this thing. And this one wants, I have them circle it first, and then we can color. This one wants this thing, this one wants this thing, and I always want the same thing. So whatever.
Nice.
And I figured that out a long time ago.
So that's a good parenting hack. Any other parenting hacks?
Oh, parenting hacks. Yeah. All the parenting hacks. For one thing, trust yourself as a parent. As long as you have good intentions and faith in your children, there is nothing that will go wrong. You may get some hiccups. You may end up standing outside of an emergency room praying for the first time in years. You may, but it's not going to be a failure if you fail upward.
Right. Fail up, because failing means you're trying, right?
Right. I will always fail. I rise, I fall, I fail. I will always try again, and I will always fail again, because that's the human condition. And
being slightly uncomfortable, I think, increases our capacity for growth.
Yes, the tearing of any of those fibers, mental, physical, doesn't matter. They knit back together stronger.
Yes, Katrina Mondragon, licensed professional counselor, licensed mental health counselor, licensed to practice in the states of Oklahoma and Massachusetts. But just because I'm a professional doesn't mean that I'm your professional. So nothing we're going to talk about today is to be taken as medical, legal, or otherwise advice. This podcast is purely for education and amusement, and